Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest and welcome to another technical update video. It is Sunday, the 20th of July, 2025. Time is currently 11:04 a.m. Hope you're having an absolutely great weekend. I am not having a greatest weekend because I'm getting sick again. Wasn't sick for about 5 years, moved in with my parents, sick twice in a month and a half. Yep, that's what's happening with me right now. Now, I think I'm to blame for that because I did probably overexert myself yesterday a little bit. Just want to see how my body handles it. And even though my legs are okay, I think the rest of my body said, hey, no, you're pushing yourself a little bit too hard. So yesterday I did do a park run, a quick 5K run, and then I walked up North Brother Mountain twice, which is about 500 meters high. And a lot of steps, lots and lots of steps. I don't like steps. So 500 meters is okay, but when you're going up heaps of steps, it can be a little bit fatiguing, particularly on your bigger leg muscles. So, okay, you don't care about all that. You care about charts. And what a spectacular end to the week. In fact, I think it was the Four Seasons who sang, Oh, What a Night. We could sing right now, Oh, What a Day, even Oh, What a Week, because if you just have a look at the XJO here, it's a breakout. This is the definition of a breakout. Now, not an absolute definition, because for me, when you're talking about individual companies, preferably you do like to see a breakout on positive financial news. And we haven't really seen that with the XJO. In fact, I did read something the other day. I forget that's exactly where it was. It might have been a newspaper, maybe AFR, which said earnings are going the wrong direction, backwards, but the market is going up. So, what's happening? What's happening? Is it just sentiment? Is it just people or the market is just ignoring all the noise out there? Maybe not noise, but all the signals that everything's overvalued. So, what is happening out there? I don't really care what's happening, but the market is bullish. This is sort of like a bullish signal as well, not only for the XGO, but also other indices and also commodities. Some commodity charts are looking really good as well. So overall, more bullish right now than it was this time last week. Although even this time last week, because 8,600 was a nice little resistance level for the XJO, and the XJO was testing that level continuously. I thought eventually it was going to break, and it did it on Friday. Doesn't mean we're going to. I would say this is an absolute breakout. We need confirmation because who knows, over the next week, maybe the XJ will fall back below 8,600. And that would be probably a bit of a negative thing if it does happen. Okay, so that's all I'm going to talk about when it comes to the XJO. Pretty nice looking at chart. All-time highs reached on Friday. We didn't see a lot of selling during the day. In fact, the XJO went up during the day. Didn't absolutely close at the high of the day, but very close. So this is as bullish as you're going to see for an indice. Yeah, bullish. Okay, we'll go to the XSO. And as I said, all these are going to look bullish. And in quite a few of these, I do have this purple box, which is a resistance zone. And the XSO during the week pushed above this purple box. In fact, for the week, pretty good, up 3.24%. XJO was up 2.06%. So really good week for the XSO, up over 3%. And yeah, it's at long-term highs. Not all-time highs, but we're talking about 3-year highs. 3-year highs for small caps on the ASX. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good, as what's his name would say. Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Okay, now onto the XTL ASX 20. I'm assuming this is fairly similar. Yep, there it goes. Just going to extend this purple box. And in fact, on Friday, breakout above this purple box. So we are seeing breakouts across the board. But again, just emphasize this is not a confirmation of breakout. This is the first step towards a breakout. I do prefer to see a bit of confirmation. And I would assume we're going to have a negative day on Monday just because of what happened on Wall Street. Particularly, well, Dow Jones is only down 0.32%. But I do think I'm worried. I'm not worrying. Was pondering why we had such a really good day on Friday when there was nothing else that had a really good day. I'm just wondering why. Why? And does that mean we're going to see a pullback? Was this sort of the top? Was this sort of the top? You could say that. A bit of too much exuberance in the market, and maybe this was a sign that we're reaching or getting a bit toppish. Who knows? But other than that, yeah, fairly bullish move for the Australian indices, including the XTL. I would assume XTX or tech, same thing. Just push this box across. Look at that. In fact, this also had a really good week. 4 days, really good days in a row for the XTX. And over the week, it was up 4.14%. And finally, onto the banks. So all the four indices I've already so far I've shown you, they've all at either all-time highs or long-term highs. The banks, not quite. This is probably the least bullish of the four in terms of not really breaking out to long-term highs because it wasn't that long ago the ASX 200 banks were above this level. Anyway, so in fact, for the week, probably up a little bit, but not up all that much. Yeah, only up 1.09%, and much of that was actually on Friday. In fact, Friday, banking sector was up 1.19%. So a little bit less bullishness when it comes to the banking sector. And of course, the other problem with the banking sector is they are significantly overvalued, except maybe one or two. What about mining? Up 2.16% on Friday. And this one, or this one. So this is an interesting one because this was in a downtrend. It's been a downtrend since the start of 2024. Well, you probably could say it's been a downtrend since the second lowest high, which was in May. But a well-defined downtrend, well-behaved downtrend as well. And there was a few signs that it was sort of breaking out or trying to break out. What day was that? Let's have a look. Looks like that was last Friday. No, that was on Monday. So potential breakout on Monday, and then it tested the downtrend line. Beautiful test on a Wednesday and Thursday, and on Friday we saw it zoom high. So you could say this is more of a confirmation of a breakout for the XMM, which is the ASX 300 Metals and Mining Index. So this is looking pretty good as well. And the last time this particular indice was this high, not that long ago. So we're talking about 5 months ago. So it's not really a long-term high for this one, this indice, but it is looking good. It's looking much better. So across the board, most indices are looking pretty good, which is understandable. Don't really have to argue why, because the XJO ASX 200 is at all-time highs and a really good end to the week. Our future is down 0.56%. I just noticed that right now. So I do expect a bit of a down day on Monday, but who knows? Maybe if we get some positive news, some few companies, who knows? Maybe we'll have a good day. Funnily enough, even though we had a really good day, the NZ50 did not. In fact, it was down 0.19%. So you could just say that just because we have a good day doesn't mean the New Zealanders do. I think this is more less diversified, more concentrated in a few companies. I should have a look exactly the makeup, but I think just like some of our sectors, for instance, real estate, the way Goodman Group goes, the way real estate goes. So maybe there's the same thing with the NZ50X. So down 0.19% for the week. However, just looking at Thursday, it was up 1.18%, and on Wednesday up 0.51%. So looks like overall an okay week for the New Zealand, up 1.53%. Just interesting that we had a really good day on Friday. New Zealand did not. Okay, now on to the Americans. Wall Street. I would assume Nasdaq looks pretty good. What can you say about this one? It's at all-time highs or near all-time highs, on the move up. The question becomes, is this a broad rally or is it concentrated in the Mag 7? So I do have an equal weighted Nasdaq. So by the way, the NDQ, the Nasdaq I'm looking at is the 100 and the equal weighted is 100 as well. So let's have a look at the equal weighted. Does it look as good? Yeah, it doesn't look as bad. Well, that's the wrong way to say it. It's not as bad as I thought it might have looked, but not quite as good as in non-equal weighted. But it does look like it doesn't look that bad at all. So no complaints about this one. So maybe the rally is a little bit more broad than I was thinking. I thought maybe Nasdaq was rallying because of Nvidia and a few of those other like companies as well. Dow Jones down at 0.32%. Another reason why I think we might have a bit of a slow day, a down day on Monday. And to be honest with you, when you have a sort of a breakout, it's very healthy to have a down day the next day because you're going to see profit taking. So there's a lot of people out there who have no idea about technical analysis. They have no idea about breakouts. They see the market up or the share price of company up, and they think, well, I've got to take profits now. And that's probably the worst thing to do when you have a breakout. But there are people like that, which is good, which is really good. We need people like that to create a market in these sort of situations. But anyway, Dow Jones, not as bullish as the Nasdaq. It's still yet to get to the highs. The Nasdaq saw, not the Dow Jones saw back in February and also December. So not quite there for the Dow Jones, and the Russell 2000 down even more, 0.61%. So good chance, maybe small caps on the ASX tomorrow on Monday are going to have a negative day. So let's have a look at the Russell 2000, and not quite as good as the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones. In fact, the Russell 2000 is in this purple box, which is a resistance zone for this particular indice. Fell through this purple box back in February, so it's taken 5 months to get back up. So that is a bit of a resistance zone for the Russell 2000. And what's this one? Oh, that's futures. Sorry. Yeah, I was going, what's that one? That's futures. Futures down a little bit. Although their futures finish trading 1 hour after normal trading finishes, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so normal trading finishes at 6:15 a.m. and the futures stop at 7 a.m. So we don't have much time when it comes to futures for the Nasdaq and Dow Jones. Now on to international indices. I still remember looking at Nikkei. It was down on Friday. I was like, oh, what was causing our rally? Not sure. It was unclear what was causing our rally. It wasn't really American futures. It wasn't really Asia. I just think maybe there was a bit too much exuberance in the Aussie market right now. Anyway, Nikkei still at these long-term highs. It's struggling. It's so struggling to get not only to get above these all-time highs, but to go on a rally from these all-time highs. So this top dash line is the all-time high the Nikkei saw back in 1989. Yes, 1989, that was the all-time high for the Nikkei. Finally got back up to this level in February of last year. So 25 years. Took 25 years, and this is what can happen if something is significantly overvalued. It can take a while for it to get back up to those levels. And for some companies, it may never get back up to those levels. But we do know indices rise over time. But if an index or a market is significantly overvalued, it can take a while for it to get back up to those levels. And this is probably true for small caps on the ASX, the XSO. In fact, the XSO all-time high is 2007, I think. So still hasn't got back up to those levels. Okay, so Nasdaq or the Nikkei is struggling to get above this level. You just see it. You just put a little purple box here and just struggling. Hang Seng up 1.33% on Friday. And oh, look at this. Oh, right on the previous highs. That almost perfectly. So right on 24,800, which is highs this one saw back in March. So it's still looking pretty good. I don't mind this indice at all. It's looking nice, looking pretty nice. And it would look even nicer if we can get above this level on Monday. DAX, still looking pretty good. No complaints about this one. And I think that's all I need to really talk about DAX. No signs of any stress, and it's still in a beautiful uptrend. Same thing can be said for the FTSE, I think. Yep, FTSE broke out last week above the 8,900 level and has not tested, sort of got close, has not really tested that. So I would say this is more like a breakout than the XJO or some of the Australian indices. So this is a pretty nice indice as well. And the TSX down 0.27% on a Friday. Does that mean we're going to have a negative day? Yes, I think we will. And if you have a look at Thursday's session on the TSX, it was up 0.86%. So maybe the TSX is the indice we should look at. So let's see if the Australian market is down between 0.2 and say 0.4%. That would be interesting if it is. In saying that, though, the TSX does look much better than the ASX. Wonder, the makeup of the TSX is similar to the ASX, but I think one of their biggest companies is Constellation Software. And I'm wondering if that is the biggest company. TSX Constituents. Let's have a look. Constituents. I can't spell. Constituents. Uh, let's have a look if Wikipedia has a nice little list here. Oh, I want to list by market cap. List by market. I'm just wondering if Constellation Software is the biggest company there. No, Royal Bank of Oh, Shopify. Totally forgot about Shopify. Yeah, Shopify. I mean, I am a shareholder of Shopify, and I'm very bullish about that company. And Constellation Software is actually number nine. But you can see Royal Bank of Canada is number one. Toronto Dominion Bank is number three. Brookfield Corporation, Brookfield Asset Management, Enbridge, no idea what that is. Thomson Reuters, and then Bank of Montreal. So, not or maybe Canadian Pacific, Kansas City, whatever that is. Not as many mining companies as I thought they might be, but they have, yeah, Shopify, very bullish, and Constellation Software. That's an interesting company as well, a good company as well. So even though I would say similar makeup, financials and mining, there are some bigger companies, bigger software companies, and like that on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and maybe that's why their market or their indices are looking a little bit better than ours. Than ours. Okay, down to commodities, gold. So I'll just do this. Well, gold still looking pretty good. Got this ascending triangle. We want gold to remain within this ascending triangle, and eventually we need to see gold break out above 3,450. And if it breaks down below that upward sloping dashed line, that would be a negative mood. And you can actually see gold has been riding along this uptrend line for or since the 27th of June. So we're talking about almost 1 month. It's just been riding up it. So we need to see a little bit of movement upwards in the gold. I want to see it above 3,440. And that'd be a good move. But still, no reason to be concerned selling all your gold stocks just yet. But not the best looking commodity chart. And I might even say nowhere near the best looking commodity chart. Does that belong to silver? Maybe. I do like this chart. Quite a few silver companies on the ASX. I'm finding more and more. I do like this chart. This is among my favorite commodity charts, if not my favorite commodity chart. In fact, I had a really good day on, oh, it was last Friday. Sorry, it was last Friday. Anyway, for the week, they're actually down, I think. Yeah, down slightly, but that's okay. That's okay. You're not going to see every week a commodity to be up. In fact, you go to have a look at gold chart. It's been in a beautiful uptrend for quite a while. And during this uptrend, it's had quite a few negative weeks. In fact, there was 1 week here. It was down 4.52%. Yeah, so you're not going to see every single day and week up when something is in an uptrend. So I would not get nervous about any week down or any day down. But silver looks pretty good, like silver. Copper, what about copper? By the way, I haven't looked at all these. So copper, let's have a look. Funny, there was people saying Trump tariffs, 50% tariffs. Why are copper companies up? I think there were some copper companies down, but overall it should be fairly bullish for copper companies because with 50% tariffs, they're gonna have to pay a little bit more. So there might be maybe less demand for copper. I don't know. Anyway, that tariffs goes on that goes to the American government. Anyway, I don't mind this chart. We had the really nice breakout on the news of the copper tariffs back on the 8th of July, up 13.12%. But since then, we can see this little tight little movement, sort of like a flag or a pennant. And that's a good sign. So I do like this chart as well. Up 1.67% on Friday. So copper chart to look for. A few nice copper companies on the ASX. I don't think those companies are those individual charts aren't looking that great, but yeah. Anyway, iron ore, iron ore is back above $100. Ooh, am I excited about this chart? Not necessarily so. Not necessarily so. Not there just yet. Now it's back up to the levels it saw back in May, so not that long ago, 2 months ago. So it's only back up to those levels. So even though it does look it's got a nice little run. I don't think this is a bullish chart just yet. Just yet. It's completely different. Have a look at silver. And just have a look where silver is compared to last. By the way, this goes back almost a year. Have a look at where copper is, or silver is compared to the last year of prices. Have a look at copper compared to the last year of prices. You notice a bit of a trend there. Not a trend, but you can see similarities with silver and copper. And then compare it to iron ore. Look what the price is right now compared to last year. Yeah. So it's I mean, we've seen quite a few periods where iron ore prices was higher than it is now. So less bullish in these sort of charts than what we saw with silver and copper. Uranium. Oh, we need to see uranium start to go higher. It was on a beautiful run. This was my favorite chart. Then we saw a pullback. It tried to rally, and that rally failed fairly quickly. So this one's looking a little bit more bearish. I think there's a chance this might just go in the sideways sort of consolidation phase, but we don't really want to see it drop all that much from here. So uranium, not so excited about this one, as particularly as I was a few weeks ago. Oil, yeah, oil still stuck in this I don't know if you could call it support level, resistance level. We'll call it support right now. It's still stuck in this level. And I'll be honest with you, out of all the commodities, I'm probably less interested in oil. And the main reason behind that is if you have a look at the monthly chart, have a look at the monthly chart. This goes all the way back to 2005. And in August 2005, 20 years ago, oil prices were this level. So oil prices haven't moved in 20 years. That is not what you want to see. Yeah, still, it surprises me when people are bullish on Woodside and Santos and all these oil companies when oil has done nothing for 20 years. Now, in saying that, you could say, well, it's gone through a 20-year consolidation phase, so there must be some upside moving forward. But the other way to look at this, if oil goes on a massive run, then people will be turning more to, say, electrification and alternatives, and that won't be good for the oil companies. Okay, what about lithium? Getting a little bit more interested in lithium, particularly individual companies' charts, but I'm not sure if lithium prices are doing anything just yet. And I'm saying no, nothing yet. But there is a little bit more interested in lithium. And also, I want to find a better lithium chart as well. I'm not really finding any really good lithium charts. Let's have a look. Lithium charts. Trading Economics did have one, but it's see this one has gone on a bit of a run. So this is what I want. So I want to find a better chart for lithium. Uh, lithium metal price. If you know a better chart, just leave it in the comment section of this video. Well, apparently I can pay 590. I could pay $350 a month to get index box. No, thank you. Yeah, anyway. So that trading economics lithium chart does look a little bit better. It has gone on a nice little run lately in the last month, but I need it to be on trading view. Okay. What else? Coal. I do own now, or am trading a coal company. So Whitehaven Coal. I had a look at the New Hope. That is looking sort of interesting. Not as good as Whitehaven just yet. And even the coal chart, this coal chart is looking interesting as well. So, and then we had that statement from Yancoal in terms of supply demand that it looks like the dynamics are starting to shift in favor of supply, or no, demand, or whatever. No, less supply with normal demand means better prices in the future. That's what they was sort of alluding to. Anyway, so coal's looking good. So Whitehaven, I'm trading Whitehaven, and New Hope looks good. Tin, I saw Metals X went on a bit of a run, but tin's doing nothing. Nickel, there's a nickel company. I forget what it's called. That chart looked good, but nickel prices don't look anything flash hot. And palladium. So this one is really interesting. So I put this purple box in as a resistance zone. Last two times it got into this purple box, we saw it pull back lower. And palladium on Thursday moved above the purple box. We saw a little bit of selling coming in on the Friday session, but it remains above this purple box. So you could even say this is a breakout for palladium. And I'm close to saying or calling this a breakout for palladium. And cocoa up 5.18%. Oh, it fell a lot. Well, that's good. It's good for chocolate prices. I have heard that they had to have cocoa farms up in North Queensland or something. And apparently it's very high quality cocoa. Okay, now on to crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are pretty bullish. And this is another great breakout, a beautiful breakout back on the 10th of July. So we're talking about just over a week ago. And you can see after that breakout, it hasn't really come back at all. That's really good and really healthy for a Bitcoin. So I'm very happy about that. I had a look at my Bitcoin holding and it's gone up now. It's gone up fourfold now. Yeah, so fourfold. So very happy with that. And Ethereum, I have a feeling this might even, yeah, this one even looks even better. That's a, talking about a breakout. So this breakout occurred on the same day, 10th of July, went sideways the next few days, which is exactly what you want to see. And then boom, it goes higher. I have no intention of buying anything else other than Bitcoin. I don't really care. I'm just not willing to trade Bitcoin or crypto. Just want to get into Bitcoin. That's it. One little holding. And that's it for me. But Ethereum looks really good. Although you can say and argue that this little run has gone a little bit too much. Maybe it's prime, yeah, prime for a bit of a pullback. Onto bonds. US 30 bonds were briefly above 5%. They've fallen below again. And yeah, this is really interesting that bond yields aren't dropping. 30-year bond yields aren't dropping. They're still rising. They're still an uptrend. And that's interesting. Interesting. So the bond market is saying, hey, either there's going to be some problems with inflation. I can definitely think that, and that means interest rates won't drop. But with Trump wanting a new Fed chair, and more than likely the new Fed chair would be sort of a yes man to Trump, the bonds seems like the bond market is just ignoring that at this point in time. And I do think it's concerned about inflation. But even if we do have inflation caused by tariffs, it's going to be short-lived, short-term, and really inflation could lead to a crash in the economy. Maybe not massive crash, but a weaker economy, and that could mean better chance for interest rate cuts. So I'm very intrigued by this. Okay, and Aussie dollar back above 65 cents. Yeah, there was a little bit of weakness, well, a little bit of strength in the American dollar during the week. And so a little bit of weakness in our dollar, but it hasn't moved all that much. And the Aussie dollar, first time I've looked at this, compared to the New Zealand dollar, and I don't know what to talk about here. In fact, if you go back, have a look at the weekly chart, it doesn't move. It doesn't move all that much over time. This goes back 11 years. And the Aussie dollar or the Aussie and New Zealand dollar trades between a very tight window, very tight range. So probably the most unexciting currency. I don't think there'll be many people trading this at all. It's not the trading. This is not a trading chart. Okay, now onto some individual companies' charts. So during the week, and I go through my watch list and I find some interesting charts. And I've brought down, or I've written down a list of maybe 20, 25 companies or ticker codes that I do find interesting. And what I've decided is to include quite a few charts that I did not look at in last week's, what was it called? 10 ASX stocks to watch. So none of these are in this particular list. I made sure of that. In fact, I do own some of these companies now, like Whitehaven Coal, Liontown Resources, already own Neuron Pharmaceuticals. Anyway, so let's have a look at MinRes. And maybe you can, well, you have to go to daily charts. So this is based off daily charts, not weekly charts. I could do this for weekly charts as well. In fact, if you got a really nice signal in the weekly and daily, that'd probably be even even a stronger signal. And we saw that with cash converters. I saw a really good signal for cash converters on the weekly and daily chart, and that makes it maybe even more interesting. So cash converters is in my list, but I looked at that chart yesterday's answer and reply video. So if you want to see what I mean, go to that video or just have a look at the chart yourself. Okay, MinRes. There's a few interesting things about this, and a few things I'd like to see. Like I like to see higher volume coming through, but I definitely think the downtrend has come to an end. We've seen a few higher lows, And the share price of MinRes has got above this little level right there, $27, or around $27, which is a nice little level. Now, the share price of MinRes is at a 5-month high. So I do prefer a 6-month high, but I'll take a 3-month high and above. So at a 3-month high, we've had a moving average crossover, and the last moving average crossover was 19th of June, so over 1 year ago when the share price was about $70. That was the start of the downtrend. And now possibly this is a start of the uptrend. But if you go back before June 2024, you can just see the share price going sideways. And we had quite a few moving average crossovers. So just because you do see a moving average crossover doesn't necessarily mean the share price is going to move into an uptrend. But I do like this chart. And the way I play these is I'll buy, say, if I like 5 charts, I'll buy 5 of them, and then maybe 3 of them will play out the way I think they are, and the other 2 not. And then I'll sell those and then buy a few more. And eventually, over time, you have a group of charts you like, a group of companies you like, whose charts are pretty good. And then you just sell when they look less good and then buy some more. Anyway, so MinRes, possible trade, possible trade. So movement in iron ore and movement in lithium. So in fact, if lithium and iron ore go on really big runs, MinRes is going to benefit a lot from that. Tyro Payments. Okay, so share price in a downtrend for a while. And when I say a while, I mean a while, looks like. Woof. So share price moved into a downtrend sometime in February 2023. Well-behaved downtrend. It's not the greatest. A couple of times we saw share price get above the downtrend and then pull back lower. So sort of testing it and kept failing it. And then finally, on the 5th of May, share price went above the downtrend line and stayed above. In fact, it went sideways for about 2 months, which is a good sign. Bit of volatility in there, but not a lot. And over the last few days, we have seen Tyro share price starting to move forward, and the volume has come in as well. So a nice looking chart for Tyro Payments. The share price is just below $1. The last time share price was at $1 was back in September last year. So I do like this chart as well. So possible trade, possible takeover bid as well. Takeover target. I don't know. Sonic Healthcare. This was on my radar last week, and it's still my radar. Not my favorite chart because the share price is not at a 6-month high. It's at a 4-month high, but it does look interesting. But I'm going to keep this on my radar and just have a look at it because share price was in a downtrend for a while. Share price went sideways. Looked like it was going to move into another downtrend. Found a little bit of support, and maybe it's moving into an uptrend. With these sort of companies, I do like to see if there's any value, and maybe you could argue there's a bit of value in Sonic Healthcare. Maybe, but not my favorite chart among this list. But yeah, it's one I have been looking at for the last few weeks. The next 2 companies are sort of related. We have Ampol with Ampol. I do like this chart as well. Do like this one. $27 or just above $27 right now. Share price is at a 5-month high. We saw the share price go sideways for a while, for about 3 months, 2 months, 2 and a bit months, and starting to move up higher. This is a sort of chart I'm looking for. This is sort of pattern recognition I'm looking for time and time again. The only thing not going for Ampol is a lack of positive financial news. That's the only negative thing about this chart, but I do like it. I suppose another negative thing you could say is just the lack of volume. You haven't seen big volume, but that's okay. That's okay. I do like this chart. And it looks like we've had a moving average crossover and the share price could be moving into an uptrend. So you can see share price, the last time there was a moving average crossover was back in May, so over a year ago, when the share price was $37. So there is a bit of upside for this company. So that's Ampol. And related to Ampol, we have Viva Energy. This one actually has looked better for a little bit longer, had a moving average crossover a little bit earlier than Ampol. So again, both companies' charts look pretty good. So Ampol and Viva Energy, I think the bottom has been reached. All right, Credit Corp just had a moving average crossover. Again, not my favorite looking chart. I don't like these setups as much as, say, Ampol. The reason I like Ampol's setup is because we've had the share price go sideways for a while, And I do like when you see this, and then the share price starts to go higher. I do like that sort of transition from a downtrend to a consolidation phase, then to an uptrend. With Credit Corp, there's a little bit more volatility in there. You can see share price was significantly higher not that long ago. Share price dropped a lot. And even though we've got a moving average crossover, I wouldn't be surprised to see the volatility remain and share price could go higher from here or could go lower. So not my favorite chart, but yeah, I do think there could be some value in Credit Corp. CSL. Yeah, I've included CSL. I was saying for maybe 2 or 3 months, around about 240 is a nice price for CSL. It remains around 240, yeah, for well since April, so 3 months in fact. Did I buy more shares? No, I didn't. Yeah, suppose I could have. I could trade CSL, but I do have a few shares. I didn't buy it at 240. I did buy a little bit earlier than that, but uh, I do like how CSL did during the week. It had a really good week, up 6.83%. It does look like this could be the bounce off this support level, which is about 230. So share price actually did get down to 230 back on the 9th of April. Didn't really rally like other companies rallied off the April low. But the last week, a couple of bullish days within that. On Tuesday, up 3.75%, and then Friday, 3.62%. So a little bit of strength within CSL, and the share price, not at a long-term high. So we're not talking about a 2 month high, but maybe the first signs that the bottom has been reached. So if I do see the share price pull back to say 240, it might be a nice little trade. And maybe you have to be a little more patient with that trade. PWR Holdings. This is a company I do own, just like CSL. And I've been thinking, well, once I get a signal, I might add to my position in this company. Share price moved into a downtrend in August last year, so just over 1 year ago, on disappointing results. I think they've had a little bit of tailwinds and some disappointment, but I think that was short term. And because the share price has dropped a fair bit, I do think there might be some value in this company, particularly with the growth the company has experienced over the last 5, 10 years. I think the company can continue growing over the next 5 to 10 years. So this is the sort of thing I'm looking for when I do already own a company. I'm looking for a potential trade to build my position even higher. Yeah, that's this is one part of my strategy is to trade around my initial position, my holding, and then that's how I can build my holding without adding to that position full time, adding to that position permanent. I don't know how to say that perfectly. Anyway, moving average crossover, share price at was that 4 month high. So things are looking a little bit better for PWR Holdings. Now to a much smaller company. So I was going to keep this list to the bigger companies. Then I saw this one, Orbital, Orbital something, Orbital Corporation. This they, I do know they were building motors for drones or something like that, including they had Boeing as a customer. I think that relationship has gone sour or something. I forget. Anyway, so this company was actually doing well maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So why am I interested with this chart? So the price, meh. The price action looks meh, but all the volume. That's the thing that stood out to me. Is just the volume over the last month and a half. Some huge volume is coming in. So that could be a good sign for Orbital Corporation. Now, I don't think this company is profitable. So that's probably the main reason I'd probably be out, just because I do prefer to limit my exposure to non-profitable story stocks. But the volume, I just am very impressed with this volume. If you have to look at the weekly chart, you can even see on the weekly chart, you just see this increase in volume the last 3 or 4 weeks. If you go back in time, you can see these spikes in volume, but I just like how this has been a sustained increase in volume. So this could be the bottom. This could be the start of something good for Orbital Corporation. So I'm going to put this onto my watch list just because of the volume. That's it, just the volume. I don't like the chart other than the volume. That's it. And finally, Clarity. I do get a few questions about Clarity. I was sort of hoping the share price could drop to a lower price than $1.50, but I'm just looking at it now. Share price has almost tripled since then. There you go. So you have to be, and this is the reason why I like to have a permanent position in stocks like this. I do, this is sort of a hedge for me. And also, I think if they are successful, this company could or will be significantly higher or higher valuation than they are right now. So I wanted a permanent position and then I'll trade around that. But even then, uh, finally getting some really good buy signals. But even with that, the share price has almost tripled since the lows. So, in fact, I bought at 307. Now the share price is 389. So, share price is significantly higher, maybe not significantly, 20% higher from when I bought. And wasn't that long ago the share price was half from when I bought. So, really, I should have been buying or thinking about buying back when it was $1.50. But the chart looked pretty bad then. So, the chart definitely looks better now. Share price is at 5, 6 month high. Yeah, and all they do, yeah, so really positive looking chart. The only negative thing would probably be the volume. Not really seeing big volume coming through, not huge volume, but I will say this, it's subtly a big higher volume than what we saw in the downtrend. And you can just see the subtle increase in volume. So if you go between September 2024, when the share price was at its high, through to February 2025, you can see there was much lower volume, and then we've seen a pickup in volume just as the share price was getting towards its low. And ever since then, the volume or the pickup in volume has remained okay. So a subtle increase in volume when the share price has started to go up, that's a good thing. You want to see lower volume, the share price is dropping, and higher volume as the market gets more excited, as the share price starts to go up. Okay, and that is all I have for this particular video. Yep, I'm pretty sure that's it. If you have any questions, any thoughts, leave those in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.